Tonight we have many things to talk about, and I know it's probably becoming sickening for a lot of you and for me to hear about Pluto, but Pluto has been the story since 2008. It's been the story. Uranus does things, Neptune does things, they all do things, Saturn does things, but Pluto's so massive. And remember now, where's Marjorie? Not here? I was invited to speak here. It's my second time. I was invited to speak here 3 months ago. She said, pick a day. She said, just shows you have got nothing to do with your choices. You're not making your choices. I said, yeah, July 14th. So I picked the date that the orbiter saw Pluto this morning. Do you think that's coincidence? You had better start thinking with the group consciousness, because the age of being an individual is over with. And all of our problems on Earth have all been assigned to the fact that we're glued to being individuals, and we're not. And all this rhetoric in the Bible, in the Quran, and all these books, holy books of we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, they're really true. Now, we're not one at the physical level, but we are one at a bigger level. And so that's just proof to me that somebody picked the 14th of July, and I know it isn't me. I want to read to you some words I scratched down. I don't usually prepare anything, but I want to just read to you kind of quietly some words I scratched off the top of my head. I want to just read to you some words, and I want you to notice how you feel in your body when I bring up these topics. Greece, the country, the Catholic Church, Bernie Sanders, Penn State, the Soccer Federation, Brady, the quarterback for New England, Bill Cosby, the Tea Party, the Supreme Court, President Obama, Bush, Cheney, Bruce Jenner, sexual equality, same-sex marriage, the Confederate flag, poisoned food, hate crimes, the language that people are using on TV, in public, from the young, the loss in faith of our government, healthcare riots, because you want to be healthy, mass shootings, tar pits, weather change, the economic collapse of 2008, the cost of living, the homeless, Bernie Madoff, Citizens United, police brutality. I decided to stop there. People have had it, and it's a good thing. And I'm here to tell you, but the collective is changing. And today, when we saw Pluto and the heart on it, there are many things to talk about, and it's very significant. So you need to get a little bit of understanding about Pluto, and I'll try to keep it kind of simple so you can get an understanding. Why the big deal about Pluto? Okay, and I'm just going to say it for you. Pluto is a planet to astrologers. It is not a planet to astronomers. And the reason that Pluto was demoted in 2006, now remember in January of 2006 is when the New Horizons took off. January of 2006 is when the New Horizons took off for Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Today it's at Pluto. 9 months later, Pluto was demoted. You heard. Why? Well, because in 2003, somebody discovered a body out beyond Pluto, a planet, and didn't know what to call it, so they called it 2003 IBUX or some initial, and later on they started calling it Xena. And its name now is officially Eris. And it takes 500 years to go around the sun. Well, the point is they found 80 other planets in the Kuiper belt out there beyond Pluto. So the astronomers were given a choice of adding 80 new planets or taking 2 away. So they came up with a fine line difference, and they removed Pluto and they removed Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, which is a major asteroid. So they're now called dwarf planets. We don't care what they say because they don't know a thing about astrology. They don't give it a chance because it's beyond their reason, because astrology is not about reason. But to us, Pluto, believe me, still works, and to them it's not. End of discussion. My parents experienced Pluto going through the sign of Cancer. And Pluto goes through a sign in its elliptical orbit, anywhere from 33 years in the sign of Gemini to 13 years in the sign of Sagittarius, because of its oval-shaped orbit. So when Pluto was going through Cancer in the 50s, that's why that generation had Cancerian properties. Family, tradition, no individuality. Dad's a shoemaker, you're a shoemaker. Okay, the greatest generation according to who? Tom Brokaw, right. World War II. Wonderful, family tight. Okay, then Pluto moved in the 50s into Leo. Mick Jagger, tongue sticking out. No, we're not going to do it. The Who, we're not going to take it. The revolution of individuality. And each sign has its plus and minus. So we went through that age of the individual saying, no, I'm not going to suppress it, be like daddy and mom, I'm going to be myself. And the good and bad that came with it. Then it went into Virgo. And you have what I call the Michael J. Fox era. The Young Republican era, where they were dismayed by the hippies and they all overreacted and became yuppies, and then they went on into Libra, into Scorpio, etc. Well, the critical time was 1995. In 1995, Pluto went into Sagittarius and it stayed there till 2008. In 1995, as soon as it went in, you'll find this memory of people being lined up around the block for what? Windows. Critical, huge turning point. When these planets change sign, we could look through a window and see each other. Big deal then, not now. We're so spoiled with an iPod, some iPad, iPhone. But we can see each other. They were lined up around the block to get this software. So from 95 till 2008, you had a 13-year period of Pluto going through Sagittarius. So everybody picked up the Sagittarian qualities. Well, some of the things Sag is famous for is being carefree, being open, being broad. It's the one that brought us the wonderful internet and the revolution it's brought. But it also brought us what in the mailbox every day? What did you get in your mailbox every day for 13 years? And you got about 15 of them every day. Credit card, credit card, credit card, credit card, remortgage, remortgage, remortgage. Pay for the future later. Get another Winnebago. Get another car. Remember? Do you remember those years? Everybody was like living high off the hog, and you're saying, who's paying for this stuff? And nobody was paying for it. And boom! Pluto hit Capricorn January 25th, 2008. And that's when the economy went shoo. Because Capricorn is opposite. Capricorn is no fooling around. Who pays the bills? Reality, facing reality. So when it hit in 2008, you saw everybody running to the banks to cash in their checks. There was no money. Are the institutions, the things held up by pillars, the Supreme Court, your businesses, your government, your education, the things you can depend on. Well, what Pluto does is it tests things. Are you valid? If you're not valid, let's get rid of you. That's what's been going on. So we watched, and we watched, and we watched, and we knew, and we knew, and we watched it coming, and we knew. And believe me, it's not even here yet. There's so much coming down. There's so much coming down yet. But great things are happening in the middle. So what happened is all of this dirt was uprooted. all of the junk came out. When Pluto hits you, or hits you, the clients call me, they'll have pus coming out, they'll have cysts, they'll get blackheads, some people get cancer, some people get swollen lymph glands. So it's very common when Pluto hits you in your personal chart that your body starts releasing toxins. Sometimes it's temporary, sometimes it's permanent. It all depends on your karma, how much stuff you have shoved down, and how fast it's coming out. So that's what's happened to us since 2008. I like to tell a story, and I will tell one more time because I think it's really worth it. January 25th, 2008 at 9:30 at night on a Friday. I remember that moment when it switched. I was speaking at the Open Mind, and I remember the moment it switched into Capricorn. 3 months later, I'm reading for a young man in my office, a gay man. He's an accountant. He says, oh my God, we put the pieces together and we realized that on January 25th, 3 months earlier, at 9:30 at night on a Friday, he was in the middle of an accounting meeting. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't go to many meetings at 9:30 at night on a Friday night. He was in an accounting meeting. He was sick and tired of all of his friends dying of AIDS. Well, he had a cushy job making all this big money in accounting. He stood up in the middle of the meeting. He said, I can't take it anymore. I love you all. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going back to school. That moment, he picked up that vibration from the archetype. He went to school. He went to Pitt. He became a nurse's assistant or whatever it was to help with people dying of AIDS. But see, that's one of the things Pluto does. It wants you to become more important, more purposeful. It doesn't mess around. That's why tonight's discussion is not going to be lighthearted. So what has Pluto been doing since 2008? Look around you. How many times do you go down the basement and you go, oh, well, that's kind of funky and I'll just leave it go? Then there's that time you go down the basement and you can't leave anymore because you hear the rafters going, and you hear the termites go, and you know you got to deal with it. That's Pluto. The bridge is falling down, the economy falling down, the people's rights falling down, the people's character falling down, the erosion. And that's a natural part of a cycle. Cycles erode, and a conscious, responsible entity will take care, plan it into their budget, and renew it. Well, when you're just money, and they've pretty much come out and said it to us, have they not pretty much come out and said it to us now? The people with the big bucks? We don't care if you die. Have they not? That's what they have said. And I must say, I'm not surprised, but the irony is these multimillionaires are now hiring these companies to build these huge, well, they're building these multi-million-dollar habitats you can live for 3 years underground. Well, now they're getting shoved out for the billionaires. I'm sorry, we got a better customer, you got to go. So they don't see what's happening. But what's happening now, and I've been really going back and forth, look at the destruction, look at the hope, look at the destruction, look at the hope. And I've been writing so much about it if you've been following my newsletters, which are all free on my website. At the same time that this awful poison has been happening, this erosion, this wonderful light-filled sight night, this spiritual upgrowth, this upswing that's happening worldwide, it's real. And I'm just not a kook astrologer. And when I heard all this stuff for years of, hey man, the shift is coming. It's going to be the shift. And I just went like, oh, wait, just shift yourself, you know. I didn't want to hear it. And what I found out is they were right. Not all of them, but they were right. The shift has happened. It was December 21st of 2012. And the Mayans were right. And I don't know why, and I don't care why. And I know all you got your interest, and some of you can focus on the Mayans. More power to you. It's not my thing. So, what has happened, and I have to do this suspecting before it happens, or as I sense it, and I was right, the higher beings, the powers that be, God, the Holy Spirit, the spirit guides, the guardian angels, whatever you call them, they know we're in trouble, including aliens. They know we're in trouble, and they're watching us, and they're helping us. And I cannot tell you the difference I have seen. 1982. Hey, Rick, well, you're on the air with Rick. Well, what's going on? Well, Mrs. Allen, I see tremendous spiritual change going on with you, and excitement. What's going on? Well, I just got back from Walmart. You what? I just got back from Walmart, and I don't go to church very much, but I'm going to go to church more. And I said, lady, I'm not looking for an attendance report at your church. I'm looking for spiritual change in you. People didn't even know what it meant. You create your own reality. Well, I don't know what you're talking about creating my reality because it's out. People were clueless, and the change that has come since 82, 83, 85, 90, etc. And I go back and I remember the days of walking into the little bookstores in 1969. I remember these little tiny bookstores with their little philosophical books with all the hippies, and their little books by Uspensky and Gurdjieff, and the books by Alice Bailey, and the early books by Ram Dass, and the really early pioneers that are nothing but downcast, not appreciated. Them and the beatniks are why we're here. They saw the vision. They saw the early vision that the social way of commercialism and capitalism will bring about your death. And they opened the door for us. Wonderful. So, what I saw is this wonderful seesaw of all this great spiritual stuff growing and this demise of all these terrible things. And I cannot tell you, people come to me now and they want to drop what they're doing, and everybody wants to be an energy healer. For years, they wanted to be massage therapists when Saturn went through Virgo. Then they wanted to be energy healers. They all want to work at the energy level. Now, as I foresaw, it's not about energy anymore, it's about thought. It's about intention. It's about intention. And you can see it now. I mean, I'm not going to mention somebody in this audience, but somebody in this audience has just put me through major healing on a telephone. Twice. And I just sat there with my headphones on. And my body went through healing of significant things. And this person did it because of her intention and my intention. That's what matters. So the great thing that's happening is the upswing is happening so rapidly. And today's theme, Pluto, is like a major chapter. And if I ask you, when did the 60s begin? You can't give me a date, because they really didn't begin on a date. Well, actually, theoretically, they began on October 8th of 1965. Wonderful time. Revolutionary time. We are in the same revolutionary time now, only thousands of times stronger. The Earth has never seen anything like it. It's now do or die. It's now do or die. When you're going through personal Pluto times, you see, you can have them for a couple of years, then you can go 20 years without any, then you might hear 6 years in a row and get them. Some people have them 10 years straight, then 20 years off. Some people every 3 years. It all depends on your chart. Pluto moves very slowly through your chart. But when it comes, this is one of the greatest explanations that I can ever tell people. When people who know astrology works, they can't understand how. But it's very simple. What got into Susan last night? What came over Michael? You say these words. You're used to these words. But you're so assured that you're an individual, and I'm telling you, you're not. These things come over you, these things get into people, they match exactly what the planets do. Only we can explain it, we can time it, we can tell you when it peaks, we can give you a frame. When these planets move, the reason the astrology works is not because Pluto's sending Pluto vibes and Mars is sending Mars vibes, which is why astronomy wants nothing to do with us. The problem with people trying to understand astrology is everybody's watching the weather vane instead of the wind. Oh, I'm a weather vane. Well, I'm a barometer. Yeah, well, I'm a rain container. Well, I'm one of these. I'm one of those. I'm a Capricorn. I'm a Gemini. Forget that stuff. I'm the wind behind it and the intelligence that God sends with the wind. That's what astrology really measures. What's true above is below is because it's identical. There is no difference. There is no difference. The quantum people have shown us there is no difference between your outer world and your inner world, which is why in my office now or in my readings, when you start talking about your job or your boyfriend or your car or your money, it's not that I'm insensitive, but I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing you. What I'm hearing is you're shut off from the source. You're on to the source, you're shut off. The great Hopi Indian said, wisely, when did you stop dancing? And if people say, I don't know so much, but people know when they stopped dancing. When he broke my heart, when I lost that job, I know when I stopped dancing. And there ain't nobody to blame but you. You stop dancing. And when you stop dancing, what do you think happens to your job? What do you think happens to your career? What do you think happens to your yard? Or your relationship with your family? So it's not that I'm cold and indifferent to people's blues, but the old astrologer in me, well, let's go look at what rules the car, what rules your job, and just drive yourself nuts in the old days, but now I don't go there. Now the number one thing I look for is how you're doing at your office. How are you doing with your fellow workers? That tells me everything. So I work back, and you wouldn't believe most people, and we're all getting better, but most people are so attached to the results outside. Oh, my job's going well. Well, the car broke down. Well, the house is broken down. Blah, 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 blah. And all they're doing to me is describing what it's like inside. Exactly. It is a one-to-one match. You cannot be doing well outside and crummy inside. I will guarantee you that Bernie Madoff, before he had his big crash, boom, bang, and his chart showed it, his chart showed his capacity to be that selfish, I will guarantee you that the weeks before and the months before, he went through a personal downslide that brought that on. And we, Liza and I, have worked so long with so many people. When stuff comes to you, it's because you've invited it. And as the wonderful deceased David Hawkins, author of Power versus Force and 9 other books, as he said, 50 years as a psychiatrist in New York City, people don't realize how they're compiling and saving their death wishes. Oh, well, I might as well not be here. My mom always say, well, I deserve to suffer. These little statements people say to themselves, they're really little tiny death wishes. And they add up and you're collecting. And Michael can tell you as a brilliant psychotherapist, removing these belief systems. I don't deserve this, whatever. Well, it adds up. And the next thing you know, something bad happens to you. Well, it's been happening all along because you've been inviting it. So when Pluto's around you, what Pluto does is it expedites that. Why? See, that's when I write and I get so frustrated because people say, well, I'm going to go to sleep for 3 days. Well, I'm going to duck while Pluto's here. It's not out there. It's not out there. It's in here. Pluto's in here. He's in here. Pluto is the part of you that is fed up. It's the part of you that doesn't want lied to anymore. It's the part of you that has passion. It's the part of you that doesn't want any junky relationships anymore. You know the ones I'm talking about. 59 minutes about them, last minute, oh, how are you? You know? Well, I've had it with them. How about you? Huh? Come on now. How many people have ended relationships because you got a 59-minute relationship? Right? You're just tired of it. Right? You're just tired of it. So, Pluto is that passionate part of you. So it's a very strange energy in the sense that, remember, it's the planet that rules Scorpio. It's the sign Scorpio. So I'll be talking to you about both because they're similar, but yet they're different. Pluto is a planet that's very cold, is very distant. It's got a heart on the side, which we didn't know till yesterday, day before. Pluto, have you ever noticed, watch the hands go up slowly, watch. How many Scorpios I got in this room? Oh, she waved it proud, whee! Okay, good, good. I noticed earlier I was talking to one, she said, Scorpio. I said, what's that? Scorpio. Okay. The reason why is a lot of people are uncomfortable around Scorpio energy because Scorpios will stare right through you. And the reason why is they are staring right through you. And the reason why is Pluto is staring right through them. Why? Because Pluto is pure. It's pure. And it's got the dirty job. Yeah, the moon says, oh, I love him, but I'll put up with him, put him in the corner. You know, Venus says, oh, I love the guy, I will deal with him on Friday. You know, all these other planets just pass it on. Pluto is the final planet. The final say, the garbage man that says, you made it or you didn't make it. If you don't make it, you're gone. It's the eliminator. It's death and rebirth. It doesn't mess around. It brought us the Holocaust. It was found in 1930. Clyde Tombaugh, the rise of Hitler, the dark side of Pluto, look what that brought about. Why did it happen? Because people looked the other way. We're upon another Holocaust now. It's upon us. You see it. The words I just read you, just a brief list. I could have read this list from then till now. The stuff that's happening. We have to start caring. And I'm not here to give you a Sagittarian raw speech. I'm here to give you the truth. We have to start caring. Whether that means that Ron goes out and starts speaking to groups of people who were addicted and tells them of his success, whether it's you as a terrific Libra woman starting more female-male groups, teaching people the higher way of thinking, whether it's music and the way you perform or what you give, it doesn't matter. We all have our different dharmas. But Pluto is on us, and when it's on you, you can't push it down. That's the advantage of an astrologer. You can say, I don't know what's going on, but I'm coming out of my skin. I know what to listen for when I'm with the clients. I know what not to listen to, and I know what to listen for. The number one signal that I get from clients that tells me that Pluto's on them and they're on track is they've been down the basement cleaning out everything. Number one. Number two, they bent over and their toothbrush fell on the toilet. That's number two. And that ain't far from true. I mean, that really happens a lot. People's sewers back up, their pipes back up, all the things in your life that have to do with getting rid of toxins, getting rid of poison, eliminating, which is Pluto's job, it stops working. So when they start to get those pipes fixed and when they start to get down the basement and they start to work at the process of getting the junk out, that's a good sign. That means that they're doing the work inside. And the planets don't care if you're successful. The planets care if you try. That's what I've noticed through thousands of charts. If you try, you keep these big energies off of you. If you make an attempt, once again, your intent. Your intent. I cannot tell you how many stories of people who have the biggest one, letting go of the wrong person in your life. You know it's the wrong guy, you know it's the wrong gal, you're living in two different sides of a duplex, but you can't do without each other. You know, you got this popcorn relationship, right? You know the popcorn. Meet at the couch, have popcorn, watch a movie, see ya. That's why we saw hard on Pluto today. Pluto's not going to put up with a popcorn relationship. You think Dan's going to put up? He's a Scorpio. He's not going to put up with that kind of relationship with people. You're going to have a true, passionate, combined, dedicated relationship where you don't betray each other or get the hell out. That's Scorpio. They don't want to don't mess with me. Get out. Now, some of them don't do it very nicely. Other ones do it very nicely. Which leads me to talk about Scorpio. I have a tendency to jump around, but my other choice is just sit down. Pluto rules a sign of Scorpio, and I told you that they stare through you. And the reason they stare through you is because they stare through themselves. Pluto is always testing them as to the purity of their motivations. And when I wrote the Scorpio chapter in our book, Exquisite Zodiac, I thought, oh my God, this sign is so complicated. I'll be here for months writing this chapter, and it took a couple days. And I was shocked. And I found out it was only two reasons why. One, if my son is dating a Scorpio woman and there are questions about how it's going, I'll ask my son one question. When you're with her, do you feel empowered? Do you feel that she sucks your energy from you? It's that simple. Now, sometimes you get a mixture. But if you got the bad Scorpio, they're going to be sucking your energy. You get the good Scorpio, they're going to be giving you energy. Because Scorpio is all about passionately urge to merge, to combine with somebody. It is the Wuthering Heights of the planet. It is. What was his name? Heathcliff. Oh, Heathcliff. He filmed in black and white, of course. Black or white. Heathcliff. All right. The other question, well, you see the powerful Scorpios, the great ones, you're with them, and they're so powerful that you feel stronger because they're the sign of courage. One of the things Pluto's doing now is your courage is here. I'm telling you, your courage has arrived. It wasn't here last week. It wasn't here 2 months ago. It was coming, but it is here. Not because Rick says, it is here. And if you aren't seeing people stand up, and you tell me Bernie Sanders is not our new avatar, you tell me he's not the embodiment of this new courage, Virgo with a bunch of Aries planets, he's honest as the day is long, he's a real deal. I've checked him out. Now what was I talking about? I forget. Huh? Scorpio. The other thing, the second thing, I found that Scorpio is really about two things. If the Scorpio hates themselves, then get the hell out. Well, the extreme option is Charles Manson. But if the Scorpio allows that self-analysis to be so hard on them, so critical, why are you even taking up space? If it becomes that harsh, then they're going to do it to you. And they love to find weak spots and just rub it. Get out, get out, get out. You're under a Pluto transit. You've drawn them into your life. And until they can go, find self-compassion. Stay away, because once they find it, and there's no sign that can raise themselves from the ashes like they can. They can be down and out junkies in the gutter, and they can rise above. They can. They have that kind of willpower. So do you know what I'm saying? How many of you experienced Pluto's dark side where they kind of look at you with condemnation? You've seen it? Okay. I sure have. How many of you are around Scorpios and you feel that tremendous strength of character? Yeah, they're wonderful, wonderful, passionate people. So it's really tough, and I tell Scorpios, You have to realize that other people are not like you. They cannot handle the heat in the kitchen. They can't do it. Geminis can't handle it. Virgos can't handle it. Libras can't handle it. Your heat, your kitchen. And I entitled the chapter, Sir, just what are your intentions? And what I would really like, if we ever do a rewrite, what I would really like to change the title to, I just thought I'd stop by. If a Scorpio ever tells you they're just stopping by, then you look around because something's up. Something's up. Okay. So what you're seeing now, you're seeing, I don't want to get political, I don't want to name parties, but you're seeing the personification of the evil side of Pluto that wants to just stamp you out for whatever reason. And you're also seeing the wonderful side of the human beings. Thank God because of Sagittarius. Why? Just like Sag, getting away with murder. Just like Sag. Because of 1995 through 2008, they gave us the internet. And they didn't realize that not only is man one mind, not only is that real, but they gave us an ability to access it, called the internet. Now, when I have an idea, I got it out there, 2 minutes, I got 85 people checked it off. Wow! That's cool. And if they don't like it, I mean, they do, right? But you're really toying with the greater mind now. And that's what Pluto is doing, why that heart is there. I have discovered through lots of work, we are one. We are one. We can't. So I've discovered that the oneness is going on at a refined level that you can sense. And the differences that we see in body. And we all go to our separate, the seeming homes and all. They seem real. But you can sense now that the next victim of this new oneness mentality are the churches. I'm sorry, not anti-church, but I sure am anti-lies. I sure am anti-feeding and scaring the people and taking their money. And how did the Vatican get all their money? This is dying, and you think it's another coincidence that Pope Francis is here? And all the things that people are saying? The point is this, let's just cross this junk out now. The point is this now, we're ready. And what does it mean? Yeah, we got to take one TV station off the air. Yeah, we got to do it. Yeah, we got about 10 loudmouths we need to get off the radio. Yeah. Yeah, we got to get people thinking for themselves instead of TV telling them how they think. We got to speak up. We all got great talents. And I can help you discover yours. But God, you know, the one thing in my readings, the one thing I don't allow is anybody say the word how. I don't allow anybody to say how. Because they go through this reading and they say, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And I say, no how, no how, no how, no how. Your how is between you and your God. What I want you to do is find your connection to this. Your connection to this. There is no interruption. There is no lack of purity. You will be guided from your intuition, from your heart. I don't care what your mommy, daddy, school taught you. This will guide you, and you all know that. You all know that. So for me to say how is to imagine I'm some power I'm not. I don't know how. But I do know that He will lead you there. He will get you there. When I'm reading for people, I know I'm off course if people don't say that's funny. When people say, that's funny, that just happened to me, that's when I know I'm on course, and I expect to hear that. You're walking around thinking that you're the thinker, and you're not the thinker. You have never thought an individual thought in your life, but you thought you did. It's all God's thoughts. Because there's only one. There's only one of us. God thinking. Your problem is you associate with it, think that's Rick, and then I got to defend who I think Rick is. So when they tell me they're on track, or that's funny, I had that idea today, that's when I know they're in sync. And like I said recently in an article, the 3 things I want to give to clients, if I can remember the 3. 1 is I want you to leave me with a more positive perception of yourself. Because we're really hard on ourselves. We think we stink, we think we're critical, we think we're ugly, we think we're inefficient, we think we're full of mistakes, we think we're not good enough. It's just awful what we do to ourselves. So if I can get you to leave thinking that maybe you have these kind of needs and these kind of wants and they're really genuine, you get give yourself a little slack, I feel like I've done some good. Number 2. Oh, the big one is number 2. The big one is I confirm what you've been thinking. When I read for Linda so many times, Linda's on to it. She's on track. She's ready to take the steps. She's one step out the door. And I say, that's exactly right. You're right. You're good. You're good. Let's modify a little bit. Let's shift it. Let's put you on a different track here a little bit. But largely, I confirm it. See, the reason people have trouble confirming it is because you have so many crazy voices in your head. And plus all the commercials and all the junk and all the noise. It's America. But people know, they have a sense where they want to go. But what's Bill going to say? What's Mom going to say? What's Dad going to say? What's Aunt's going to say? Well, I confirm it. And boy, people would just go, pew, when they get confirmed. And it's almost like I'm giving them permission to go forth, multiply. And I don't have any power, but they feel empowered that they were on the right track. And that's a wonderful feeling. But the greatest thing, and I'm sure Mike will agree with this, and all you readers out there, because I know many of you are, number 3 is the greatest thing you can do, Sarah, is to send the person home with the connection. You don't want them to come back and see you. If you want to, fine. You go home, you got your own God you be in touch with. You don't want to be a Catholic, be a better Catholic. You want to be an atheist, be a better atheist. I don't care, but get your guidance from inside. And there's a long story here. What we've been going through the last 4 years has been a test of what happened in the 60s. And it's not just been a test of Medicare and Medicaid and student rights and women's rights and black rights. That test was true. But the big test that we went through was in 1965, was when the human psyche opened up to internal guidance. And when it opened up into internal guidance, you saw the writing on the wall that Pluto was going to be its days numbered. Because Pluto rules the unconscious mind. Well, what did you see in 65 and 63 and 62? You saw Twilight Zone, unconscious mind, what's in the darkness gonna come get you, right? And through Freud in his early work, and through Jung in his dramatic work with the archetypes, we now know that the unconscious mind doesn't exist. It's just another part of the mind. So Pluto, in that sense, was demoted because we no longer find the unconscious mind to be the great mystery. The unconscious is just different levels of mind, that you access in your dreams, etc. So anyhow, what we're finding now, and I'll bring this to a conclusion, we'll open up for questions. What we're finding now, and I've told some of you in my other video, that you go outside and you want your pony and your pony ain't there anymore, and you want your pony, and now what's there is a stallion. There aren't any more ponies. There aren't any more ponies. They're all stallions. And I know you, and what I mean collectively, I know what many of you are like when you're talking to me, and each one of you sounds so much like the other. People are ready. They're ready to kick butt. They're ready. And what I call, we are now entering another era. It's the end of mea culpa. It's the end of, oh, I want to sleep with my head on the rock. Oh, I want to be on the cross. I want the stigmata. Oh, I've got to suffer. Oh, I've got to suffer. I've got to suffer. I'll be a good Catholic, whatever. Those days are gone. And we understand where that came from, but those days are gone. Thank God we got a Pope that understands that. But how many Catholics in other religions do you see where they're afraid to death to be themselves, to take a step? Those days are gone. I'm seeing it. I do tons of past life charts and current life charts, and 90% of the people I read for have past lives where they couldn't move. They were smart. They were teachers. They were healers. They couldn't say anything. They couldn't do anything. They had the school on them, the dad on them, the church on them. Now they're coming back into this life, and almost every time they come to me, they're ready to go. They're ready to fly. They're ready to move. It's the end of mea culpa. And we have to stand up to these people who are ignorant. Not crudely, but speak up to the people who are ignorant, that want to hide yourself in a book written in the Pluto and the age of Aries, and will tell you that this is law and this is law and that's law, when we know different in our heart. So that's what's happening. We are now picking up on the promise that came in 1965, which was the opening to learning from our intuition. We're doing it now. How many people in the last 3-4 years have made great strides with trusting your intuition? Let me see your hands. Damn right. Look at that. That's fabulous. That's fabulous, because I can't BS you. And I don't want to. And you can't BS yourself, because truth is going to take care of truth. So I really don't have much more to say. And what I can tell you with us seeing Pluto is not a coincidence that the same day they signed this nuclear agreement. What do you think rules nuclear activity in astrology? Pluto. What was within minutes? Okay, so it should make you feel good that you are operating in a bigger realm. You're not going to switch from this mode to the mode of oneness. That's why we're in the Pluto age now. And what you got coming is this. Pluto's been in Capricorn. It's got 8 more years. Pluto has been opposite the United States Sun recently. That's the activation of our open enemies. The people that don't like us standing up and acting out against us. That's just getting started, and you're still being lied to by your government. There is a lot more anti-American sentiment out there than you think. And it's much more serious than you think. Next. Pluto is opposite the great star Sirius right now. Sirius is the bright light in the skies, the wonderful star of life-giving energy that the United States was born with our sun in line with Sirius. Both of them are opposite Pluto now. And that is symbolized by you're actually seeing the light of the United States flicker. Wouldn't you say it's flickering now? It's sure not this steady beam. And the problem, and I'm going to take a minute to do this. Remind me to get back to the Pluto return. I want to take a minute to do this. This is very important. And I know a lot of you read my articles, and you really need to read this one about the United States needs to become vulnerable. The problem with the United States, in a sense, is that we are a Cancer country. July 4th. And Cancer has its great qualities of caregiving, mothering, the nest, the family, etc. But when it goes too far, it becomes closed down. It doesn't want to open up, and that's why the crab goes underneath the rock. Why do you think we have bases in 130 countries? How many times have you gone down the street and seen a naval base from Panama? Have you gone down the street and seen an army base from Russia? We think it's normal that we do it, but nobody else can do it. Okay? We've got this huge ego of thinking that we're very special. So to the degree that we're willing to look at ourselves, see ourselves as equals with the rest of the planet, lower our huge national ego, the ability to look inside and become vulnerable is equal to the degree that we're going to succeed. But what we do is we overprotect. And that's what I call whack a country. You've all played whack-a-mole? Peru, boom. Cuba, boom. Afghanistan, boom. So it's not like Genghis Khan. We're not trying to capture everybody. We're just threatened if anybody stands up. You see? That's what we are. And we're so used to this in the lies. But the lies, that's how they lie to us. They work on our Cancerian fears. The commies will get you. The Reds were going to get you, right? These are going to get you. The Islam's going to come get you. And they keep making us fear, so we keep feeding money into this huge defense budget. But the point is, if we can just stop being so paranoid, allow others to grow around us, it gives that a better image. It lets things grow. It lets people trust us more. We don't have our drones coming over the hill looking for their little huts. I mean, those drones are some scary business. So that's all Pluto stuff. So it all comes down to this. Are we willing to introspect? If you're not willing to introspect, then you say, what's might is right. Living in the country, if you don't like it, then get out. That kind of negative attitude. USA right or wrong. Get out if you don't like it. I mean, that's our downfall. That's our downfall. And that is not that's not anti-American, it's pro-American. Exactly right. So, what I'm telling you is the final statement is in 2020, around 2020. Not far, 5 years, Pluto's going to return. United States chart, 1776. Pluto's at 25 degrees of Capricorn. Right now, it's at 15. Pluto spent 256 years going around. It's going to return. It's returning now. It's that close. When a Pluto return happens, you've all heard of a Saturn return, which is very mild compared to a Pluto return. Pluto return will shake you at your foundation. So here's the advantage. This is this simple. We have the benefit now of shaking ourselves to the rafters. We got the benefit now of going down and throwing everything out of the basement and rebuilding. Or we could try to blame the poor people, or we could try to blame this group or blame that group and fall for more lies, in which case we're going down the drain. So it's really up to us. The point I want to leave you with is this. Pluto is all around you now, and I will tell you. And if you leave your comfort zone, you will be taken care of. And something out there, and I could go into great detail, knows that you're trying. And it knows that you have intent to grow. But the number one thing, if you're in a bad relationship, find the courage to get out. Because you're not helping the other person. And Pluto might just put a splinter in between you anyway. Because it won't let you enable that person anymore. Number one, if you haven't gotten out, get out. Or fix it. Okay? And that is true of all the things in your life. If it's not working, fix it or get out. Now, I want to stop. We've got about a minute left. I want to stop and just hear from you. Has this made sense to you?
Yes.
Good. Any glaring something that doesn't make sense? Anything glaring. The terms of years, this is here to stay. This is not because we flew by Pluto today. This is here to stay. You're going to be 20 years from now looking back at this talk. You're going to be looking back at this flyby, and you're going to see it just like we're looking back at the 60s. Don't be dismayed by these people that are going to want you to point your finger at Obama, or point it at Bush, or point it at whatever. It's the natural decay of society, and we have never been here before. This world has never been here before. Because you've seen the Romans fall, the Greeks fall. You've seen it one after another. That's all ending. That's all ending. That whole repetition. That's all ending. And the America 2.0 is totally up to us. So I thank you for this great opportunity today. Thank you.